Between statues and action figures, BBTS seems like they're getting new dinosaur figures every day. Check them out at the link in the description.
Kaiju, turtles, Dragon Ball, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, Collector Steven here, and we're continuing on the reviews for the Hammond collection from Mattel in the Jurassic universe, and today we're going to be taking a look at something from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the Baryonyx. This was a fan favorite. Everyone remembers the scene coming on through the lava. Ooh, boy, girl, don't quite know pronouns here just because I don't know the universal stuff. They didn't specifically go into that, and because of the dinosaur DNA, so I don't know. I will use he or she interchangeably. Sorry, they sometimes. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge as we get to it. But anyway, the Baryonyx here is going to be quite intimidating. Now, on the back of the box, they did show promotional images, different paint application than the final product. But the interesting thing here about the Baryonyx is that a lot of folks have cited some quality control issues, most notably with the paint application. Ooh, pretty disappointing there. Not a lot of folks are happy. But is that going to be something that is a widespread myth? Or is this an action figure you can take home to mama? Keep in mind, it's only about 20 or so bucks. Let's take a look to see whether or not the Baryonyx is to be worth adding in your collection. Okay, so at the time of upload, I don't have all of my Hammond collection reviews up, but I have them all recorded at least. And from what I can tell you is that it seems like, while not necessarily the dot matrix printing, they do have some sort of printing method for the paint applications for these figures, for the Raptor, the Baryonyx, and the Parasaurolophus. And what I can say is that a lot of folks have said that there are quality control issues like chunks missing out of the Baryonyx paint here. And what I can say is, taking a look at all of them, it looks like there are going to be some intentional odd designs for the different paint schemes and the designs for the different dinosaurs. Like, for an example, you'll see it in the Parasaurolophus review. There are some stripes on the thigh, and it looks like there's some purplish paint missing. No, that's actually intentional. For the Baryonyx here, a lot of folks have said that it's going to be some bad paint. Most notably, you'll see that on the chest between the shoulders. That actually appeared to be the case for all the different Baryonyx units I was able to see, because I have seen a few others in person, albeit in packaging. What I can say, though, is that there are going to be some quality control issues pertaining to areas where paint has been scratched up with relative ease. You'll mostly see this in the articulation section where I talk about this. And I would have to say that for the paint for areas like the teeth, it is rather thick. There's no master of subtlety here. I mean, they just kind of painted it and they moved on. Otherwise, I will have to say in the craftsmanship, I'm not quite sure on the tail. There are two parts where it looks like the soft plastic, the rubber has already torn, and you can see what appears to be the casing for the bendy wire underneath. That is rather disappointing. However, there are some areas which really do stand out, like the blue that is used under the eyes of the Baryonyx, and likewise, the eyes are rather ferocious as well. Scientific accuracy, be damned. I can't really tell you whether or not this is accurate, and I'm not really going to be bothered to look at that because it's the Jurassic series, okay? We're not looking for accuracy. The Baryonyx overall does look good. Though after recording the articulation section already, one thing that I do note is that we do have some loose parts. That's just going to be something to keep in mind. All right, I'm going to keep it real with you. If you don't really know how to pose your action figures, Baryonyx's articulation is rather fine. Just a couple of spots where you're like, dang, man, wish I could have posed them a little better. Or her. I don't know. At this point in Jurassic World, did we have a mix of boys and girls for Baryonyx? I don't know. Anyway, if you're not that familiar with posing, you're like, dang, wish I had a few more joints. If you are really good at posing your figures and you know how to work with what you got, you've got everything that you need. What do we have? Well, if you recall in my Raptor video, I made mention of the neck system where, unfortunately, we don't have the right range of movement. What am I talking about here? Well, Baryonyx is rather special because, as you can see, on a hinge, the jaw opens and closes. But if you're familiar with Shin Godzilla, the top portion of the head opens and closes as well, similar to most of the figures of Shin in action figure format. So that's really cool. So if you have the SH Monster Art Shin Godzilla, you know what we're dealing with here, which is really cool. Now the head plugs into the neck on a ball joint so we can get Baryonyx to look all the way around. Do take note, however, hold on. Paint scratches. So, that's not good. We don't like that. It's unfortunate, but that's happening. So we don't like that. Neck plugs into the body on a ball joint. But here's the issue that I raised in the Raptor video with these dinosaurs being able to look up with no issue. Down, yeah, I mean, we can, but not really so much so here with Baryonyx. So yeah, I mean, neck movement is great. I mean, you can get the Baryonyx to look in all sorts of different directions, especially in a pose like this. We've got it. It can be creepy. But looking down, you're going to have to utilize the other joints, which we're going to get to now. Shoulders are going to be on swivels, where they plug in, and then they can hinge up and down. Same thing with the elbows. They do hinge forward and back, and then they swivel to the side. Nothing at the wrists, but they're very small. Not a big deal. For the hips, I can't really tell if we're just going to have swivels that allow you to spin the legs all the way around. Please be wary of parts rubbing into each other and scraping. And then we have hinges to allow you to move the hips in and out just like that, or if they're going to be on ball joints. They don't seem to rock, so I'm assuming just hinging and swivels. Now, we have a traditional knee area cut, which is going to have a hinge, which also swivels. And then about halfway down, we do also have hinge and swivel movement. We do also have ankles that feature hinges and swivels as well. Ankle rockers. I'm going to come back to that. I just covered that in brief, so this way you know what I'm talking about here. Like the rest of the Hammond collection dinosaurs so far, the tail plugs in, and then on that peg, there's going to be a ball joint where the tail plugs in, so it spins and moves around, which is really good. And then we have bendy wire. The bendy wire is really thick, and we can get some nice poses, though do be wary, as I pointed out in the sculpt section. We do have a couple of areas where it looks like it's already torn on mine in specific, and I don't know if that's going to get much worse. For most people, apparently, from what I've been able to see, once you plug the tail in, you're not supposed to pop it out. My Raptors, that's not really the case for all but one, but nevertheless. Okay, so Baryonyx articulation at surface level is good if you know what you're doing. So one of the issues is going to be right away, leg movement's rather restrictive, but if you get creative and you utilize those swivels, you can get your Baryonyx to do some really fun stuff. Like, I don't know, how does it go? So we're going to have one knee kind of touching the ground, alternating, and the other leg goes out like that. We can get this dino to do a makeshift Iron Man pose. Hello? Have you ever seen a dinosaur do that before? Yeah, okay, so moral of the story is it's a little sloppy. There we go, that's better. Moral of the story is Baryonyx has all the joints to move and groove if you're willing to give it a chance. This does make me want to not only bump my camera, but also get some really high-end dinosaur action figures. I mean, really high-end with amazing engineering. Who's going to wet that whistle? Now, to round out the review, here's a size comparison with all the currently released Hammond collection dinosaurs. I'm going to not get the humans just because I'm not interested. So as you can see, they are of good scale, and if you're looking to get smaller dinosaurs to blend in with your humanoid figures, then congrats, these should blend in rather nicely. You can have some fun fantasy displays, or if you're looking for in-universe, if you will, it's Jurassic Park after all, I think they look just fine enough. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Overall, I do see some of the criticisms pertaining to the paint application for the figure, but for the price point at $20 or so, I don't think it's a significant issue, except for when we have actual damage to the figure, which should not have happened in the first place. The articulation, the only thing that I could think of is going to be some form of a body joint, like a, let's say, ab crunch of some sort. That would have really sealed the deal for this figure. Otherwise, if you know how to move your figures around, the Baryonyx has just plentiful articulation. For just a little bit more than the Raptor, however, I don't necessarily feel that that price gap accounts for anything aside from the size of the figure. But if you do like the Baryonyx, then congratulations, this is going to be a home run. I do like the figure. If you're just kind of a casual fan of Baryonyx, this is definitely going to be one to consider, at least holding it in hand, because, I'm rather pleased with it. I think it's a good buy.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.